Thanks for joining us today at the Mining News Network podcast. Let's get started.
We're looking at Metalla royalty and streaming today. Probably heard of them.
Yeah.
They're acquiring royalties on gold, silver, and copper projects. It's like owning a piece of future profits. But, without the whole running a mine thing.
Exactly. A really smart way to play the metals market. And Metalla seems to be making some strategic moves, to set themselves up for success.
That's why we're here today, to figure out what those moves mean. So we're focusing on two big personnel changes they made in 2024.
Okay.
First, they brought on Jason Cho as president back in July.
Right.
And then just this month, they added Chris Beer to their board of directors. We're going to analyze what these appointments tell us about Metalla's ambitions and how these two individuals could be key players in their game plan for 2025.
It's like getting a sneak peek at their playbook. I think what we'll find is that these aren't just, random additions. Like if you look at Metalla's activities and reports from earlier this year, you see hints that they were getting ready for something big.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's start with Jason Cho, stepping into the president role in July. His resume is impressive, especially when you think about where Metalla seems to be heading.
Absolutely. Cho has over 25 years in the mining industry. And it's not just any experience. It's the kind that suggests he's a builder, a deal maker.
What kind of background are we talking?
Well, he's got a background in engineering, corporate finance, and portfolio management. And crucially, corporate development.
And speaking of corporate development, his previous role as Executive Vice President of Strategy and Corporate Development at Eldorado Gold. That really stands out to me. I mean, that's a major player in the gold mining space.
Right? Definitely. And he was responsible for some massive deals there.
How massive are we talking?
Over $4 billion in mergers and acquisitions. And not only that, he was deeply involved in a variety of, equity, debt, and project financing deals. So this isn't just someone who knows mining. This is someone who knows how to make things happen financially.
Okay, $4 billion. Whoa, help me put that into perspective. Was that typical for Eldorado Gold, or did Cho really knock it out of the park?
That level of deal activity was significant even for a company of Eldorado's size, It suggests Cho has a knack for identifying opportunities and negotiating favorable terms and getting those deals across the finish line.
So we're talking about someone who's not afraid to make big moves and who has a history of successful deal-making. It makes perfect sense for Metalla to bring someone like him in if their goal is to become a leading royalty company.
Right.
It's like they're signaling, we're ready to play in the big leagues.
Precisely. But acquiring royalties and streams requires more than just, financial muscle. You need someone who can assess the long-term value of those projects, someone who can spot the potential winners in a crowded field.
Right.
And that's where Chris Beer's expertise comes in.
All right, Chris Beer, the newest member of Metalla's board. He comes from a slightly different angle, but just crucial, I think.
Absolutely. He brings over 35 years of experience in mining finance and exploration, a fascinating blend of practical on-the-ground experience and high-level financial expertise.
I'm looking at his background here. For nearly 25 years, he was a managing director and senior portfolio manager at RBC Global Asset Management. It's a major financial institution.
For sure.
And he wasn't just managing any portfolios. He was leading award-winning global portfolios in precious metals, natural resources, energy, even clean energy.
Exactly. He has a deep understanding of the market forces that shape the entire industry. From the price of gold to the rise of clean energy technologies, it's like having a seasoned navigator on your ship, someone who can read the currents and chart a course for success.
That's a great analogy, but I have to admit, I'm a little puzzled. He was managing these broad, diversified portfolios. How does that translate to Metalla's more focused approach on royalties in gold, silver, and copper?
That's a great question. And I think it gets to the heart of why this appointment is so strategic. See, Beer's expertise isn't just in picking winners within a specific sector. It's about understanding the interconnectedness of the global market. He can see how trends in one area, like the growth of electric vehicles, might impact demand for copper. And therefore, the value of a copper royalty.
So he brings that big picture perspective, the ability to connect the dots and anticipate future trends. That's invaluable for a company like Metalla looking to make long-term investments in royalties.
Yeah. They need someone who can see beyond the immediate horizon and assess the true potential of a project.
Right, exactly. But let's not forget, Beer started his career as an exploration geologist with Noranda Exploration.
Yeah.
So he's not just a numbers guy. He's been in the field, understands the technical side of mining. That gives him a unique advantage.
Absolutely.
So he's got the financial acumen, the broad market knowledge, and the hands-on experience in mining. He's like the ultimate triple threat. But it gets even more interesting. On top of his appointment to the board, Beer also invested personally in Metalla.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he purchased 40,000 shares.
Wow, putting his money where his mouth is.
And Cho did the same thing when he joined as president. Invested $1 million to acquire 250,000 shares. These aren't just executives coming in to collect a paycheck.
Right.
They're putting their own money where their mouths are, which demonstrates a strong belief in Metalla's potential.
That's a powerful statement. They're not just employees, they're invested partners in Metalla's success.
Okay, so we've got Cho, the experienced dealmaker with a track record of billion-dollar acquisitions, and Beer, the seasoned market expert with a geologist's eye and a knack for spotting high-potential investments. It's quite the dynamic duo.
It is indeed. And this brings us to a crucial question. How will these two individuals with their unique skill sets actually impact Metalla's trajectory in 2025? That's what we'll delve into next.
Hey there, Mining News Network listeners. We hope you're enjoying the latest updates on breaking news from mining companies across North America. If you love staying informed about the latest developments in the mining world, we've got a quick favor to ask. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. It really helps us out. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. We've got more exciting stories and expert insights coming your way after the break, so stay tuned and thank you for listening.
Welcome back, Deep Divers. We're digging deeper into what Jason Cho and Chris Beer bring to the table and how their expertise could translate into some major wins for Metalla in 2025.
You know, when you lay it out like that, it makes you wonder, what could Metalla achieve in 2025 with this dream team in place? What's fascinating to me is that their combined experience seems tailor-made for the specific challenges and opportunities Metalla faces right now.
It really does. It's almost as if they were handpicked to lead Metalla into its next phase of growth. Let's start by revisiting Jason Cho's achievements at Eldorado Gold, particularly those billion-dollar acquisitions you mentioned earlier. Those weren't just random deals. They were strategic moves that significantly reshaped Eldorado's position in the market.
Okay, so let's unpack those deals. What were some of the key acquisitions Cho spearheaded, and what does that tell us about his approach? Well, one of the most notable acquisitions was European gold fields. Now, this deal expanded Eldorado's footprint into Greece and Turkey, giving them access to new, high-quality gold assets.
So Cho isn't afraid to cross borders.
Yeah.
And he's got experience navigating the complexities of international acquisitions. That's crucial for a company like Metalla, which is looking to expand its global reach.
Exactly. And then there's the acquisition of Integra Gold. This deal added a portfolio of high-grade gold projects in Canada, including the Lamaque project in Quebec, which has become a flagship asset for Eldorado.
Interesting. So he's got a knack for identifying undervalued or perhaps even overlooked assets with significant upside potential. That kind of strategic thinking could be incredibly valuable to Metalla as they seek out new royalty and streaming opportunities.
Absolutely. And remember, Cho wasn't just acquiring any assets. He was targeting projects that aligned with Eldorado's overall strategy. This suggests he's a shrewd strategist who can assess the company's goals and identify acquisitions that will help them achieve those objectives.
Which is exactly what Metalla needs right now. They've stated their ambition to become a leading royalty company. And Cho's track record suggests he knows how to build a company through strategic acquisitions. But as we discussed, acquisitions are only part of the equation. They need someone who can also navigate the complex financial landscape of the mining industry.
Right. And let's not forget Cho's expertise in financing. Remember, he was involved in various equity debt and project financing deals at Eldorado, which means he knows how to raise capital structure deals and manage those complex financial transactions. That's crucial for a company that's looking to grow aggressively.
Okay, so we've established that Cho brings the deal-making expertise and the financial know-how to the table. Now let's shift gears and delve into Chris Beer's world. He spent over 35 years in mining, finance, and exploration, which is a pretty unique combination. What stands out to you about his experience?
Well, one of the things that I find most remarkable about Beer's career is his ability to seamlessly transition between the practical world of geology and the high-stakes world of finance. He started as an exploration geologist, getting his hands dirty in the field, and then rose through the ranks to become a leading portfolio manager at one of Canada's largest financial institutions.
I'm looking at his resume here, and it says he was managing those award-winning global portfolios at RBC Global Asset Management for nearly 25 years. That's a long time to be at the top of your game in such a demanding field. What does that tell you about his abilities?
It tells me he has an exceptional understanding of market dynamics, a deep knowledge of the mining industry, and a proven track record of generating returns for investors. And remember, those portfolios weren't limited to precious metals. They also included natural resources, energy, and even clean energy.
So he's got that big picture perspective we talked about earlier. The ability to see the interconnectedness of different sectors and anticipate how global trends might impact the mining industry. But how does that translate to Metalla's more focused approach on royalties? They're not managing a diverse portfolio of stocks. They're investing in royalties on specific mining projects.
That's true. But Beer's broad market knowledge is still incredibly valuable. Think of it this way. Metalla needs to understand not only the potential of a specific mine, but also how that mine fits into the larger global picture. Beer's expertise in diverse sectors allows him to assess those macro-level trends and identify opportunities that others might miss.
Ah, I see what you mean. So, for example, he might recognize that the growing demand for electric vehicles is going to drive up the price of copper, and therefore a royalty on a promising copper project could be a very wise investment for Metalla. He's bringing that strategic foresight to the table.
Exactly. He's not just evaluating a mine in isolation, he's considering the broader economic and technological forces that will shape the industry's future. And that kind of insight is invaluable when you're making long-term investments.
It's like having a crystal ball, but one that's grounded in real-world data and market analysis. Okay, I'm starting to see how their combined expertise could really make a difference for Metalla in 2025. We've got Cho, the deal maker, with a knack for identifying and acquiring valuable assets, and Beer, the market guru, with a deep understanding of the global forces shaping the mining industry.
And let's not forget their shared commitment to Metalla's success. Remember, they both invested personally in the company, putting their own money on the line. That shows a level of confidence and alignment that's truly remarkable.
You're right, they're not just employees, they're invested partners. Now you might be thinking, okay, they've got a great team, but what specific moves could they make in 2025? We've been talking about Metalla royalty and streaming, and their new additions, Jason Cho as president and Chris Beer on the board. But, you know, even with a dream team like this, there are always challenges ahead, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's like they've assembled, the perfect crew, charted a course for success, but they're still sailing in, potentially stormy seas.
Exactly.
So let's talk about those potential headwinds.
Yeah.
What could throw Metalla off course, even with Cho and Beer at the helm? What do you think? Well, one of the biggest challenges for any company in the mining sector, especially one focused on royalties and streams, is commodity price volatility.
Makes sense.
Gold, silver, copper, these prices can swing wildly, and that directly impacts Metalla's bottom line.
Right.
They're not actually operating the mines.
Yeah.
So they're really at the mercy of market forces. It's like riding a roller coaster. You might enjoy the highs, but you've got to brace yourself for those dips too.
Precisely. And while diversification can help mitigate some of that risk, Metalla does have a mix of gold, silver, and copper in their portfolio. It's still a major factor they need to navigate carefully.
Okay, so volatile commodity prices are always lurking in the background. What other challenges do you see?
Competition. The royalty and streaming space is getting crowded. Lots of players vying for those same lucrative deals.
Ah, yeah.
Metalla is going up against some giants, some with much deeper pockets and decades of experience.
So it's not just about having the right people. It's about outmaneuvering the competition, being smarter and faster when those prime opportunities come up.
Exactly. It's a chess game. You've got to be thinking several moves ahead. And let's not forget that those attractive royalty and streaming opportunities, they're becoming increasingly scarce. It's like everyone's searching for that hidden treasure, but there are only so many chests to go around.
Speaking of hidden treasures, a lot of Metalla's current portfolio involves assets in, various countries. Could geopolitical risks become a problem for them in 2025? I'm thinking political instability, regulatory changes, even social unrest, things they can't really control.
You're right to raise that point. Mining is a global industry, and geopolitical events can have a huge impact. Changes in government policies, resource nationalism, even just the perception of instability in a certain region, all of these can disrupt operations and affect Metalla's investments.
So it's not just about analyzing the financial statements of a mining project. It's about understanding the political and social landscape as well.
Precisely. They need to have their finger on the pulse of what's happening globally and be prepared to adapt quickly to changing circumstances. Requires careful due diligence, strong relationships with local partners, and a deep understanding of the risks and opportunities in each region where they invest.
Okay, so we've got volatile commodity prices, fierce competition, and those ever-present geopolitical wildcards. Some serious hurdles for Metalla to clear in 2025. But let's flip the script for a moment. What factors could help them overcome these obstacles and actually thrive in this environment? What do you think?
Well, execution is key. We've talked about how impressive Cho and Beer's backgrounds are, but they need to translate that expertise into concrete actions and successful deals.
So it's not just about having a brilliant strategy. It's about being able to put that strategy into action effectively.
Exactly. They need to be decisive, act quickly on opportunities, and avoid getting bogged down in bureaucracy. Remember, speed and agility are crucial in a competitive market.
And it's not just about being fast. It's about being smart. They need to identify and acquire high-quality royalties and streams, negotiate favorable terms, and manage their portfolio carefully to maximize returns for investors.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another crucial factor, financial discipline. They need to manage their capital wisely, avoid overpaying for assets, and maintain a strong balance sheet. Make sure they have the resources to weather those inevitable downturns and be in a position to capitalize on opportunities when they arise.
So Deep Divers, Metalla Royalty and Streaming is heading into 2025 with a powerhouse team, a clear ambition, and some serious challenges to overcome.
They've got all the pieces in place to become a major player in the royalty and streaming space. But as we've discussed, their success will ultimately hinge on their ability to execute their strategy, manage risks, and make smart investments.
And that, my friends, is why we're all so fascinated by Metalla's story. It's a company with huge potential, but they're sailing in uncharted waters. So here's a final thought for you to ponder as you continue to follow their journey, given everything we've discussed. What kind of moves would signal to you that Metalla is truly on the path to becoming that leading royalty company? What should we be watching for in 2025? Keep those mental gears turning, deep divers. And until next time, happy investing.
Thank you for listening to the Mining News Network. If you found this content helpful, please don't forget to drop us a like and subscribe. If there are topics or companies that you would be interested in or like us to cover next, please leave a comment down below.